Hello. Welcome to day 11 of 30 days of KNIME. So for this week and next week, we're going to be focusing on data preparation, data cleaning, data transformation, and a lot of that is narrowing down on what you actually need. Because you might have a very large data set, but you don't need all of it. And you need to do this narrowing down early on so that you're not processing so much information through your workflow, which you don't need. That will just slow you down for no good reason. So we've seen how we can narrow things down by using the missing column filters, the missing value filters, and the row filters as well. We've gone from having about 1.2 million rows of data to only having, because right now we're only focusing on flights coming into Florida from 2000 onwards. Another thing we can use to narrow down is the column filter. Let's say we know there's some columns that we would not even need to include in our analysis. We can get rid of what we don't need using the column filter node. And there's several ways to do this. You can manually select which columns you don't want to include. You can click on multiple by holding down Control and selecting multiple and pressing that to get them over. You can also make selections using wildcards. And you can also make selections using regex as well. Finally, you can also make selections using the type selection. Let's say we only want to have the numerical columns included. We can click on that and those columns will be brought over and included. We can do the same thing for strings as well if that's how we want to make our inclusions. But if, let's say for instance, we don't care about where the flight is coming from, we might easily get rid of all this origin information. So let's say the use case of this data was to see, for instance, which carrier had incoming flights to Florida canceled the most, and you don't really care where it's coming from, you just want to see the aggregation of the information. You could get rid of all the origin columns because you don't really need that for this analysis. You could make that selection and then click on OK and go forward, and you've just dropped 5 columns of information, so your data is going to process a little bit faster than if you had all that information you didn't need. But for me, I actually do need them all, so I'm just going to put all this back. One thing I am going to get rid of is the airline code, because when I'm referring to the airline, I'm going to prefer to use the name, not the code. The only instance I'm going to need the code is when I want to add that to the flight number, and I can get that information from this airline name column, so I really don't need this. I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay, so the airline code, I am going to drop that because I really don't need it. All right, you guys, that's the end of this one. We now have what we need for our data, so we're going to go into some more cleaning and preparation in the rest of these 2 weeks. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in day 12, and I hope you have a lovely weekend. Bye, guys.